期待。这个赛季每个队伍都有自己的获胜之道，而且风格独具，每个队伍都有输有赢。我很期待春季冠军的一个诞生。上一周我们告别了 LPL 的002号选手 Kid， 当然在这个赛季里面也有很多的新人的加入，确实在这个时间点感受到 LPL 的一个新时代的来临。 这一周的比赛让我最期待的是 Snake 对上 RW 的强对话，因为在主外的对决中也关系到东西区的一个队伍的一个排名。而 IG 跟 WE 这也是历史上 LPL 最长的一个德比的队伍的竞争。而 WE 最近的一个状态其实是有所起伏，但他们后期的一个翻盘能力还是一样的强势。17年的总决赛 LPL 最后抱憾无归，但18年的 LPL 我相信是一个新的开始，希望所有的观众跟我一样对 LPL 充满期待，为他们加油到最后。
Day 4 marks the halfway mark of the final week of cross-conference play. And although we've already seen historical matches as well as a couple of top-of-the-table clashes, there are still a few more to go. Hello everyone, I'm Matthew Stewart, and I'm your host for tonight's broadcast. Joining me on the analyst desk today is going to be the dashing Clement Chu, as well as the lovely Indiana Frost going back, which we can't see at the moment, but there they are on your screens. But before we dive deep into today's matches, let's first take a look at what's happened while we were offline, because although we did not broadcast the games that were played on Tuesday as well as on Wednesday, the LPL still went on. Starting first with the first match of that day, which is going to be OMG taking on LGD, where finally OMG have been able to pick up a victory after a long series of losses.
And a lot of it had to do with their read on the meta. OMG have been really struggling to fit into it, but you can see on your screen right there, that's a Galio. That was one of the first times OMG finally brought out that champion, and you wouldn't believe the success that they found with the pick.
And the second set, we have EDG versus TOP, a bit of a rough series as they lost a Baron and a game to the much lower rated TOP. However, they are able to adjust and get the carry pick onto Ray to carry them to a series victory.
Still picking up a 2-1 and still trying to adapt their playstyle a little bit more as the LPL progresses. Vici had a decent performance against Jindong, picking up a single win in that series, but JDG just proved to be a bit too strong and picked up the series 2-1.
And speaking of read on the meta, it's still good news for Vici, even though they didn't take the series win, simply because Martin is getting a lot more credit. Moving on to picks like the Caitlyn, like the Tristana are certainly fitting him better, and moving Easy Hoon into a secondary support style like the Karma works better, but it wasn't enough to take down Yagao's Galio.
And you see that he was also being a little bit more aggressive from that final team fight there. But we also had Suning taking on BLG, where Suning were able to pick up a 2-0 decisive victory over BLG, and just shows that the Eastern Conference is incredibly strong at the moment.
Very fast gameplay coming out from Suni, really running over BLG, forcing them to play subs in Mole and Chieftain as well, not able to bring the series back.
It gives us a chance to take a look at where the LPL stands at the moment, because we still have teams like IG who are incredibly dominant, 11-1 at the moment, as well as Snake for the side of the Western Conference, 9-2.
Yeah, those names, the Edward Gamings, the WEs, the RNGs, they're dead to me. Get them out of here. You can see that they're already fairly low on the standings, though RNG are on the upswing. Instead, we're going to be talking about the contenders of the LPL, Invictus Gaming, Rogue Warriors, Snake Esports. These are the guys that are in a sprint straight towards those playoffs, and anything less than a brick wall is not going to stop them.
And this is our last week of cross-conference play right here. If you look at the standings, the only big ones that have changed are RNG and Jingdong kind of swapping their positions. However, we are going to get a lot of previews of the playoff games coming up, as our playoff format is more cross-conference centered.
We certainly will, and there's only 3 more days of those cross-conference matches to be played, so let's take a look at what matches we have coming up for today, because there's already a top-of-the-table clash. First up, it's going to be Snake taking on Rogue Warriors, followed by a historical matchup between RNG and OMG.
Yeah, it's a banger. RNG versus OMG. This was the week of rivalries. We've also got LGD and EDG, as well as WE and Invictus Gaming coming up later on this week. But historically, RNG get the favor of this matchup, and I don't think that's going to change today.
But the first match we have today, Rogue Warriors taking on Snake. Not only is it a top-of-the-table clash, but it's our match of the week.
I think this is a semifinals preview. The top team in the East facing off the second team in the Western Conference. Oh, sorry, I got that actually opposite. but we do have to talk a little bit about East is Beast.
East is Beast.
Just for those of you watching, East is Beast. But we do have to talk about why Snake has finally been able to realize their potential. They've been a good team for so long. They've been the scrim gods of the LPL, but this is the split they finally did it. To characterize a little bit, they don't actually have a very good early game, last in GD in the top 4 teams, but they have that miracle comeback team fight, a very specific style of play. The flanks coming in from Flandre, Crystal, who's never going to take a step back, and the person that glues it all together, Guoguo, with his damage threats, like the Rise, like the Azir.
Now that said, I do agree with everything that Clement has said. But I feel like Snake were insulated a bit by 8.1. Majority of the matches, because the LPL was late to shift into 8.4, were played on a single patch, and Gangplank and Vladimir were just running amok up into the LPL, and Flandre really got his numbers boosted on that. Now the problem is that Rogue Warriors, they are not reliant on a single position like a mid laner, like a top laner to make their 5v5 work. They are much more about the bottom lane and the SMLZ, and then working all of those members around SMLZ to create great late game scaling team fighting.
Because we talk a lot about how Snake, they play around their jungler quite frequently. They have a very unique playstyle in the LPL, but Rogue Warriors are exactly the same in the sense that they have a very unique playstyle that we don't see anywhere. All their eggs are in the SMLZ basket, to the point where we even see their mid laner picking up supports in the mid lane from time to time.
And that's the big reason I think Rogue Warriors have the upper hand in this patch. Joinbeat can go on the defensive side. This patch has been really warped around the mid lane Sion pick, and there are no counters. The Chinese have not found one. So the only way you play against that is with the Karma and the Galio yourself. However, if Guoguo wants to play within the meta and go to those picks, he's going to have to give up their teamfight style that made them successful. On the flip side, if he does go for if he goes for his own scaling champions, he's going to cede a lot of mid lane priority over to Rogue Warriors.
We've already seen a couple of teams trying to deal with that by just banning out the champions, like EDG. Didn't work for them in their final match against RNG, where they got the Sion in the mid lane, surprised everyone. But the key matchup we're going to be really looking towards in this game, if you watch any Snake game or any Rogue Warriors game, is going to be in the jungle, where we have Flawless taking on SOFM. These are two of the best junglers that we have in the league.
Yeah, earlier on in the week, Raz was doing his top 10 junglers. Both these two were in the top 3. Have to agree with him. And we want to talk about kind of the different styles between Style of Me and Flawless. SOFM is kind of known as that tracker. It's about how he picks up information and then he uses that information to grab experience camps from you. He's constantly going to be on the Crud camp, constantly going to be on the Wraith camp, and that helps create an experience lead for him, then it transfers into a tempo advantage. Flawless, on the other hand, is more of a hunter. He's going to blitz into your jungle, he's going to find you, and he is going to kill you. You can see #1 in solo kills right there, and that's how he creates his tempo advantage.
7 solo kills being picked up by Flawless already, #1 in terms of junglers in the LPL, whereas for the side of SOFM, his damage share is 21. We have that many junglers in the LPL. There's only 14 teams here right now. His stats in terms of damage done is a lot lower when it comes to Flawless, but like you said, he's much more of a tracker.
Yeah, and the reason why I included those, because it is pretty funny to see 21st. Like, why would you highlight that? It showcases that these guys' stats are not necessarily inflated, because the team doesn't only rely on them to be that carry late game, because they do have those strong points like the Guoguo, like the SMLZ.
Yeah, SOFM definitely playing in a triple threat team. However, I want to go back to your tracker point. SOFM is the best objective controlling jungler that we have in the LPL right now. If you look at his buff steals, leading the pack with 34, and also so explosive with those Baron steals, getting his team back in the game with those miracle team fights as well. 5 Baron steals so far in SOFM, leading the entirety of the LPL.
And although these two are very different when it comes to jungling for their respective teams, they have something in common, which is they both like to pick up Lee Sin. They play them in very different ways, and we get to show you a couple of the ways they try to play it.
Lee Sin is not dead on 8.4 as long as these two junglers have anything to say about it. Now, Flawless, he is not the look for the inset kick Lee Sin and just make a late game play. He will start the fight, he will end the fight. This is a team fighting Lee Sin, and it's about the power throughout it.
And we really do have to mention, though, even though these two still play Lee Sin, it has been in reaction to the Olaf pick. The Olaf is the big meta changer in the jungle right now. And for us, we feel like Flawless is going to do much better on that champion. It's a bot lane focused champion that he can gank frequently, and it also allows him to go into the enemy jungle and face off with SOFM.
Yeah, and likewise, SOFM, while he is known for his Lee Sin performance and can play those carry-oriented styles, his team and the responsibility that he has at Snake, it's about the team fighting. Things like Zac, like like Sejuani, like Jarvan were his big picks. I imagine Skarner is going to fit just as well in there, and it's about how he front lines and creates picks and opportunities for his team to capitalize on, not necessarily being the Olaf that is running in and starting the fight and carrying it through like Flawless would be.
Because historically, we've seen people ban out Lee Sin against SOFM. Flawless, it took the LPL quite some time before teams realized, you know what, we shouldn't give him that champ because he's just too damn good on it. So we'll have to see if it's going to be a contested pick between these two junglers, but we know they can go back towards those tanks like you mentioned. But first, let's take a look at the lineups here. Snake's going to be Flandre, SOFM, War, Crystal, and Hutier.
Yeah, and this Snake team has really been turning a lot of heads. The first time that they've been considered one of the top teams in the LPL. They always had a lot of potential, but only really realized it in 2018.
Yeah, hello, this is 2015, Snake Esports calling. It's nice that they finally picked up the phone and we're seeing that potential realized.
Across them in the Rift is going to be Rogue Warriors, named the revenge team, so to speak, at the moment, with Mouse, Flawless, Doinby, SMLZ, and Kalua.
Yeah, and the focus here is also going to be on SMLZ. All of the resources, all of the drafting goes around this guy. He has proven himself that he is a hyper carry. This is almost Starhorn Royal Club 2013-esque with how they are setting up SMLZ to be the true carry of this team.
And it really going to be looking towards the mid lane as well, because we talk about SMLZ, we talk about the junglers, but the facilitators are going to be in the mid lane. Doinby, yes, more of a supportive player, so it almost feels like the onus is going to be on Gwoko to try and lock him down there.
Yeah, the only two ways we really see Snake winning is either they win the top lane really big against Mouse, or they're able to shut down Doinby in the mid lane with those damage picks coming from Gwoko and the play from SOFM.
Well, it is a top of the table clash, so we'll have to send it over to our casters to take it away.
Hi guys, thank you so much. We are so excited. Our match of the week, Rogue Warriors versus Snake here. Both teams are 9-2, and we are already into picks and bans. Holy cow, that was fast. But Rusty, I am so excited to be here. Once again, my name's Dom. This guy's Rusty. You've probably heard of him before, and if you haven't, you damn well should have, because he is a heck of a caster alongside with me on this game one. Already, Sion, Karma, and Olaf stricken away, so Snake have done their homework, perhaps listening to our analyst desk on the other side. And on the far side, Rogue Warriors banning away Flandre in that top lane and taking away that Azir from Gwoko.
Yeah, something we were thinking about before the set started was, will Snake remove the Olaf? They can play the Lee Sin, good into the matchup, but they get rid of it. They default to the ban list, and it means we should not see any kind of Lee Sins unless they're really feeling themselves, and their scrims have been going incredibly well. So we should throw that away for the moment. Sion, Karma ban, great decisions. We're overall very happy with what Snake have done so far, even with their first pick going for the Rise, taking something away from Doinby. Now, in saying that, whilst you pick the Rise away from him, that mid laner has got a plethora of champions there to counteract that regardless. He will still get himself a strong mid laner.
He certainly has. That's now going to be the 7th time Gwoko has picked up this Rise. It's his most played champion by 1, and he's looking to turn that into 2. Now Tahm Kench picked up for the likes of Killua from Rogue Warriors, so already looks like they're falling back on comfort themselves, as Skarner is now locked in for Flawless.
You saw the hover of the Cassiopeia there as well, and I wonder if that was a legitimate thought from Rogue Warriors. He's picked it in his last set. It worked very well. They played it with a Jhin composition for SMLZ. There's a lot of potential strength there behind that, but they choose to go towards the Skarner. Now, I feel like they did this without knowing where Snake have their jungler in the draft. They choose to actually pick theirs first. They know fully well that it could be a Sejuani, that it could be a Skarner taken away from them, so they choose to prioritize the jungle role.
And already we can see that jungle matchup going to be coming to a head here, as SOFM now locks in Sejuani for himself. Definitely something that he's comfortable on. He's played it 7 times so far. Ooh, and the Gangplank lock in for Flandre.
This is a dangerous game that you'll be playing in the top lane right now. Mouse has the counter pick. Now, it may not just be a traditional counter. They may go towards a tank in the top lane, and I'd actually call that a pretty big win for the side of Snake if it's just a traditional tank versus carry, in this case the Gangplank matchup. I'd love to see something different from Mouse at the later stages of the draft. But of course, it's Rogue Warriors. They pick their mid laner in the first 3. They prioritize their AD carry. They prioritize their top laner.
Doinby returning to the likes of that Cassiopeia. Already we're seeing Rogue Warriors setting themselves up with that mid-jungle duo that's so strong on patch 8.4. Snake are doing the exact same thing, but just slight differences in that side priority. Bottom for Rogue Warriors with the Tahm Kench, and top for Flandre, which sort of speaks to the priority of these teams in general.
And of course, you'll see that reflected in their forthcoming bans as well. The Gnar taken away from Mouse, one of the few hybrid carry and tank style top laners, so nice to see that one removed. And on the opposite side, Rogue Warriors, they get rid of the most played AD carry, respectively between both AD carries, I believe, as well, of the Varus, and the Braum gone from Killua, who has been honestly an incredible Braum. He's one of the few players that picks up the champion, and you're like, oh, it's a pretty boring tank, but he makes it work so well.
Absolutely. So many great engages, so many ways to tag on those stuns. Cho'Gath is the follow-up. Rogue Warriors, looks like they're going to try to limit Crystal even further as SMLZ, the sniper himself, picks up the Sheriff of Piltover.
Certainly gets himself the longer range AD carry in any matchups that he'll be finding himself in. He doesn't have the support shown for his team either. Other Tahm Kench Ratha's there. The opponents haven't revealed either of their bottom lane. Knowing that they're against the Tahm Kench, knowing that they're against the Caitlyn, two very comfortable champions from Rogue Warriors, you're either expecting something that can match the range or can engage super early. So going for something like the Tristana, which is what they're looking at right now, they could very easily follow that with something like an Alistar to go just ham. Level 2, the traditional, the OG engage combo.
Very well could be. We've already seen 3 Alistars from Hudye. He's won all 3 of them. Of course, last time we saw that Tristana, we saw Crystal go with a 9.0 KDA on the champion. So this is already a very confident bottom lane from the likes of Snake. They've got themselves some scaling, they've got themselves some damage. More importantly, it looks like they've got a way to support SOFM if he ever goes for any wild invades into Rogue Warriors jungle.
Yeah, they certainly do. That's something that we'll have to continue to explore as we look for the last remaining champion of Rogue Warriors, and we do get to see how they play out the early stages, because you're right, the jungle, super crucial in this matchup. The early game, super crucial in this matchup, and drafting for having strong laning phases is always going to be a big deal. Now we wait for Mouse, and I am surprised to see that it is going to be the Ornn, but of course the Scion has been banned, the Cho'Gath has been removed, the opportunity to play a tank started to dwindle with his options, and he chooses a very safe option that has been picked a lot into Gangplank.
Of course, Mouse very comfortable playing those safe top laners. It's a strategy that we also saw him utilize on the likes of EDG. Just sit there, hug under your turret, Maokai Shen, something that can absorb pressure and not fall behind. Problem is, he's looking against Flandre on the opposite side. SOFM is one of the most invade-heavy junglers in the entire league right now, and there's a rise in the mid lane. I can't imagine it's going to be anything but calm up there.
Absolutely. So, for what it's worth, however, that calmness may be the undoing of Rogue Warriors in this case. You've got a Gangplank, you've got Flandre, one of the big points of power for Snake on that top side of the map, and any kind of calmness will be completely thrown to the wayside by Rogue Warriors, you would have to imagine. It could be, but I don't think that's what they want per se as we get into that first game, Dom. They need to create some chaos. They need to move around the map early, and it does always come back to that jungle position. When Flawless faces SOFM, when the man who has 7 solo kills, the first of any jungler in our league, goes against the person who just takes raptors from you from under your nose consistently, can he find him? Can they find each other? And the end result of that generally is the outcome of this set.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I am thrilled to see this jungle pathing. Any of you jungle main should definitely be keeping an eye on a minimap for this game 1 at the very least, because these are 2 of the best junglers in the league. Already, Snake fans have packed the arena to the brim, one of the loudest and most supportive crowds in all of China for their team. And Rogue Warriors, they're 9-2, a team of misfits that is now banded together to find their own identity and complete a revenge tour against the teams that spurned them, are now 9-2 as well. Fish already mentioned it on the desk. This could be a preview of a playoff match to come.
Certainly could be. I mean, it is first versus second in the standings for each respective conference, and this game does mean a whole lot. It's our match of the week for a reason, Dom.
It certainly is. And now we've loaded onto the Rift. Wow, you can hear the fans really cranking up the volume as Rogue Warriors step in for an early invade. Even some chuckles.
That was unbelievably passionate. I'm sorry.
Really
that was great.
Yeah. Oh, man. And again, the Chongqing fans, as they always do, cheering Snake Chongqing instead of Snake Jai-O, as there is just so much regional pride for the team. But Rogue Warriors have now found themselves quite a passionate following as well. But already, with the likes of that fast and fun Crystal Spires setting up Skarner all across the map, we've loaded onto the Rift.
And now we do get a second to see the runes on your screen and calm down as everyone will do their initial camp clears. We'll be closely monitoring where the junglers go, given how impactful they are to the outcome of this game. But you've got a grasp of the Undying on Mouse, firstly on his Ornn. Usually you'll see that taken into melee champions, traditionally tanks, because it's super easy to get those procs off. It makes me feel like he's going to be playing a bit more up in the face of Flandre here, trying to utilize the advantages that it can provide with trading. But he's up against a Kleptomancy Gangplank, and oftentimes Gangplank will use his Q to harass from range, and so it is very difficult to actually get those Grasp of the Undying procs off.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that top lane as Guoguo steps forward. Spotted out by a ward, he places a ward. So already you can see the emphasis on jungle vision as Guoguo is stepping up to keep SOFM safe. That said, Flawless is still going to path down as the bottom lane continues to trade down here.
Early vision has been placed in the jungle, as you mentioned, but they've all been able to completely circumvent that vision. They don't know where the Skarner is exactly. All they know is that he isn't at the Raptors. So SOFM's the man who has the initiative. We have to see which direction he goes, and if the junglers meet for a battle at the Scuttle, more often than not, it is a place of contention, especially for Sejuanis who take it incredibly quickly. You have to be there before the mark, otherwise you won't get it.
Ooh, and SOFM is actually going to get to the Scuttle Crab first. Flawless sits and takes the Spire. Empowered, he's actually going to step in, sees that SOFM doesn't have blue buff.
Exactly, he knows the buff is available and he wants to take the fight, using the advantage. They're meeting each other.
Yeah, he's standing on top of the Spire. They're already dueling out. Immediately, both mid laners peel down as Flawless. He's about to eat a
this
stun.
is really
He's
close.
Still sitting on top of it. The bluff. Which mid laner gets there first? Flawless goes low. That's going to be the snare, and first blood to Guoguo.
Flawless bites off way more than he can chew. Guoguo's correct side of the map, and now he's got double buffs on the rise. Suddenly, they meet exactly where we thought they might. Early on in the game, the Skarner and the Sejuani in this case, they junglers duke it out. But the mid laner who arrives first is Guoguo. He's got the heal, and he's got the ability to lock you down and crowd control you. And you are made to pay.
Tragically, Cassiopeia, not a lot of movement speed, level 1, just because of her passive lack of boots. You can see some of the stats here for those mid laners.
The biggest thing to me, though, Dom, is having the minion dematerializer, being Rise into the Cassiopeia, and having control of that lane is actually quite a significant deal.
Oh, Hujie eating some damage as SMLZ. You can see his damage percent is first in the league. CS differential is second. This is one of the best AD carries in all of China right now. And he's got a pretty strong lane. Caitlyn into Tristana.
He does get placed on a pedestal by the Rogue Warriors roster to enable him to be so strong as well. But you mentioned the winning matchup. That's absolutely the case. SOFM has no health, so don't be fooled. He's not looking for a Flawless. He's looking to avoid Flawless, but to take his Krugs away from him.
Just denying as much as he can. Flandre on this Gangplank in the top lane, happily just farming away. Not a huge amount of mana on this Gangplank, still massive KDA. Huge damage per minute in the top lane, at second in the league.
It does look like he's gone towards Sorcery in the secondary tree, however. You can see the mana flow band with the white mana bar on him. So wants to sustain through that lane just a little bit longer. And my curiosity is getting the best of me with what his secondary rune will be besides the mana flow band. And you know, whether that is a move speed buff like the Celerity, or he's gone towards the Gathering Storm, which you would expect.
Especially on the likes of a Gangplank against a team like Rogue Warriors, who have been swift and efficient in their games against lower tier teams, but against higher tier teams have more of a propensity to drag the game out, play it a little safer, wait for the late game SMLZ to finish it off, which seems like it might be the strategy this time as Flawless invades and spots SOFM, who's still just a step ahead.
That invade is at a good timing from Flawless, however, he does have to go back to base. There was a teleport coming into the bottom lane. That's Killua. No one freak out, just me. I'll freak out.
Okay. Oh, and the double headshot. Oh, and the Peacemaker. SMLZ is just making Crystal pay as Killua happily trades back. The explosive satchel gets absorbed.
Of course, nobody in the bottom lane except for Killua has been able to recall. The Unsealed Spellbook from the Tarmkench is what enables exactly that. So nice stuff from Rogue Warriors. Unsealed Spellbook is usually very good for lane priority, lane control. And if you've got a Caitlyn there, of course, she goes towards the Fleet Footwork, but you can still influence that as just the support in the matchup. So that does actually do some wonders for them, perhaps gives them control of the lane, and more importantly, it continues to grow a CS advantage whilst denying the recall from the Tristana. And if you're denying recalls, Cassiopeia can find a chance to come in here.
This is a cannon wave, there's a lot of health. Flash Snare catches them both! Doinby kicks it off, SMLZ gets a kill and shares another with Doinby.
No one suspected the Cassiopeia to be down in the bottom lane with no hesitation as well. There's a flash ultimate out of Doinby, and they secure themselves 2 kills. We speak towards what a teleport can mean. Well, now we get to see the fruits of their labor here, Rogue Warriors. Flawless just trying to hold on.
Yeah, he certainly is. Still holding that flash and has to back away from the stun and snare of Guoguo and SOFM, who are just denying Doinby some CS for his roam. But he's more than making up for it with the gold that he's now rolling in.
Yeah, note the time that they spend hitting Flawless is not time that they'll be spending hitting the turret. So it's actually not a bad thing from Flawless in the end, but he has to use his flash, and that hurts a lot as Skarner, especially when you're trying to farm up to that level 6-point ganks. Very difficult to get. Now we look at the fight bottom. Note, he doesn't hesitate. He immediately flashes in. I'm surprised that Tristana was stunned, but so be it. The Alistar was definitely going to get locked down, and that was the real kill threat in that bottom lane, is Alistar using a flash pulverize on whoever's tanking the turret.
And very early on, it looks like Rogue Warriors are going back to the style and strategy that we've really seen them utilize against some of the higher tier teams, showing that they respect them by focusing the bottom lane.
The big difference here, though, is that Flawless didn't go with Doinby. We're used to seeing them go as 4, threaten 5 with a teleport, but not the case this time around. It was the unsuspecting gank that no one saw coming.
The unseen Cassiopeia is the deadliest. Look at that. SMLZ is still walking up another headshot.
Oh, Crystal.
They are just aggressively pushing
Whoa,
away.
he
All right,
wants him.
Killua. He's got the Devour. Is he just looking for the kill?
No,
The Peacemaker is mistimed. Killua shields himself. Here comes SOFM.
He's level 6.
Got the bola, and he will tag onto Killua, made to pay for his overextension. Still a 1-for-1.
Oh, whoa.
As that's a slow, and SMLZ with no sums walks away, but there's Flawless. Predator has been ticked. He's walking up for Crystal, but he knows he got the reset, so it doesn't go in.
And he's only level 5. Meanwhile, mid lane, Gogo should get out all right. There's no flash from Doinby. Just some trades.
Oh, Doinby's thinking about it. Got some damage, but not enough to follow up. 8 kills, or excuse me, 8 minutes. We've already got 5 kills on the board.
That was actually close to get extended to the turret there, so very well done from Doinby to navigate that. Flawless is finally ticked over to 6 as well. But he doesn't have the Predator. He doesn't have the flash. It's very hard to secure themselves a kill in this situation. They're just threatening.
This is that mid-jungle duo that we talked about. Doinby and Flawless stepping forward to push SOFM, make him feel a bit uncomfortable as Gogo catches minions in the mid lane. And so much action on the middle and bottom half of the map.
And the reason all of this action is happening is, again, the importance on early game between these teams to get the junglers some kind of advantage, or to get the mid laner, in this case of Doinby, some kind of advantage. A one trade in a 1v1 between these two means the junglers get freedom. So they are going to constantly find each other, constantly try and 1v1 and fight each other, and very similar to the way Shie plays his Cassiopeia, he wants to expend health, trade health, and has utilized the fact that he can even sustain up a little bit better with the E if need be. But more importantly, the junglers, they're okay 1v1ing right now, or they're okay with a 3v3 or a gank in the bottom lane without mid laners interacting at all, especially if Doinby is able to win that.
And that strategy works so well for Rogue Warriors, especially now that we can start to see some vision being placed down for this team. Rogue Warriors, one of the best teams at choking out enemy vision in all of the league. They are so oppressive with their ward placements. Already you can see Killua has completed the upgraded Eye of the Mountain, and still just keeping an eye on the entire map to watch for SOFM.
Pretty early upgrade as well. You can compare that to Hudia, who hasn't actually completed his item, let alone has the wards and the quest completed. That's the most important part here. 9 minutes and 20 seconds, a completed quest. Killua is absolutely going ham down in that bottom lane.
Using almost every charge as quick as he can. Gogo steps out to clear just a bit of vision, but 10 minutes in. Flawless and SOFM are still tracking around this bottom side of the map. Already we can see SOFM making the adaptation. Okay, we know Rogue Warriors focused bottom lane twice. Are they going to do it again? He tried to sneak in, but is spotted out by Flawless. There's no flash impale ready as it's a 2v2 and a 1v1. SMLZ, it's the first explosive charge. His Unbreakable Will is used by Hudia to disengage. And Rogue Warriors just push SOFM back into the jungle.
Both teams are just playing with fire. They're poking at each other, trying to taunt the other team to engage, hoping they expend too many resources on an attempt to engage. But Tahm Kench can save SMLZ, so he steps up, he goes forwards. But ultimately, they've got to push Rogue Warriors as a result of their trade. They're able to push back Snake. Doesn't mean that Snake aren't going to be here if they want to contest this. But Rogue Warriors at least started off, and they've already got it.
Yeah, Infernal Dragon now picked up by Rogue Warriors. Teleport available for both top laners, but still, it's just that positioning, jockeying for the advantage over each other. Neither of these teams are content to just sit and farm and lane.
And I will say one big thing as to why Snake may not have wanted to look towards that is towards the teleports that you mentioned. Mouse was coming back from base. He's shopped. He's optimized with his items. You compare that to Flandre, he had a Trinity Force to purchase from Machine. So, really, I mean, if he had the Trinity Force, I think they were teleporting the heck in there. They were so ready for that fight, but he didn't have it. He wasn't able to. It wasn't really a worthwhile even option for them unless he had that item spike purchased.
Tragically, the timing is just a little bit off, and Rogue Warriors are able to take an advantage of it. 3 kills to 2, though they are down 400 gold. Of course, that Gangplank
Crystal,
and
you
the
saw
likes
that
of
ward.
SOFM.
Oh, this is a mess. He walked into the bush.
There are no pings onto it. Maybe he was window shopping.
Ah, man.
But perhaps that could speak to the emotional stakes of this game, because this isn't a regular solo queue match. This isn't a regular LPL match. The tensions are high. Already we can see how aggressive these teams are playing, almost uncharacteristically so, as both of them are not willing to back down.
Tension definitely is a correct way to describe this. I'd say pressure more than anything else as well is the biggest factor of this game right now. It's all about pressuring mistakes out of your opponent. The gold lead is non-existent between them right now. The kill share is 2-3. Turrets haven't dropped and it's a Caitlyn pushing the bottom lane, but you're starting to feel like pressure is mounting onto the side of Snake. Like they're feeling a little bit more forced to make plays. And I would say that is particularly through the bottom half of the map. When you're looking at the top half of the map, it's the exact opposite. They're just sitting back. They're so ready to just continue to farm, have a Gangplank get his 2-item spike, and just one-hit all of the carries of the world. They're very content to make exactly that happen, and he's farming incredibly well. 12 minutes, 120 CS. That is nuts for a Gangplank.
Flandre is absolutely rolling in money right now, but he's not been able to make too much use of it on the map. So while Snake on paper have a gold advantage, that's all stocked up in Flandre's back pocket. It's up to the rest of Snake to make sure that he can join the team when the opportunity comes, and it's up to Rogue Warriors to prevent that. Already though, Flawless with his flash back up.
The control ward is still there behind them as well in the bottom lane if Mouse wanted to teleport, but I think the biggest deal is Doinby needs to be unlocked from mid lane to make a dive like that successful. The Ornn can come down for sure, can use the Ram and can crowd control them a lot, but a level 6 Alistar, a Tristana with the ultimate, pretty hard to dive unless you bring down multiple resources that have damage in them to secure those kills, and that's where Doinby is important.
All right, now they've spotted SOFM. Flawless is just around the wall. First brick is taken by SMLZ, who is ruthless in punishing Crystal. That is almost 30 CS ahead at 13.5 minutes.
And that's where that pressure is from Rogue Warriors on the bottom side of the map. They're doing everything correct down there. It's a Caitlyn, it's going to siege the turret, and it's going to go down eventually. So they secure it at 13 minutes, which is not poor timing for a first turret to go down. And solo gold is given to SMLZ. Switches over. He's got a static Shiv first item as well. He can go to any lane right now, presumably top lane, and push the turret down. It is hard to siege against a Gangplank, however. So they need to threaten the dive. They need to keep at least 3 people up there now to keep him away from wave clearing, if not kill him when he tries to wave clear.
And look at the sense of timing from Rogue Warriors. Getting the blue buff on spawn, getting the recall from Snake, setting up deep vision. Already you can see Flandre trying to respond, and while it might have been a feigned rush to the top lane, instead Rogue Warriors are just clearing out the map and denying Snake from getting a foothold.
I mean, ultimately they're just trying to match the duo lanes against each other right now. So they do need to put the Tristana and the Alistar to the top lane. It is a static Shiv now completed for Crystal respectively as well. And the fact that all of Rogue Warriors were missing doesn't really let Flandre step up and clear one more wave, because what if they are top lane and I don't have a ward then? You know, like what if they are near me? I need to respect that fact. So I think Snake played that out fine. They're just behind in the tempo, so they lose another objective.
Rogue Warriors, they are not content to allow that tempo to sit at the pace that it is by pushing the Rift Herald, by taking the static shift to keep pushing against a Tristana top lane. Doinby hard shoving in the mid lane with that blue buff. This is Rogue Warriors setting the pace, and now they're ahead in gold with the likes of that first brick. Not to mention all the gold on that mid and bottom carry. Still, Snake, they've got time. If they can last long enough, they've got Gangplank, Tristana, and Ryze. Absolutely capable of matching the damage of Rogue Warriors if they can drag it out.
If they can even get to the lane where they want to use it. Look at the River Dom. There's 3 control wards, so about 2 extra wards in there. And you know how long it's going to take for them just to clear that vision, let alone get to top lane. And by that time, they're just completely evacuated. SMLZ and Kalua, you can see them at the Tribe, which they know. And now they just back away. And during this time, Rogue Warriors have reset, they've recalled. Now they can place more vision if they want in the same area. More control wards purchased from the mid laner and jungler.
And we can already see how respectful Snake are trying to be. That Rogue Warriors could try to make a play. They took 4 people to clear out those wards. And in the meantime, Rogue Warriors got essentially a free back, and now Rift Herald summoned in the mid lane. And Snake are all inside lanes.
Yep, they've replaced the vision as well. They brought Mouse to the middle lane, and Guogwo cannot clear safely on a Herald, so they will get at least a lot of damage down here. In the end, it will still be defended, but a lot was used to defend that. And it was just a Herald summoned and everyone's able bodies around the mid lane area for Rogue Warriors to remove a lot of health.
Yeah, already we can start to see that advantage spill over a bit in the top lane as SMLZ continues to keep Crystal 30 CS down, pushing into the turret wave after wave. And it's just a question of endurance. How long can Snake last until that turret is broken, until something falls?
Or who is the person that tries to get too cocky, too confident?
Yeah.
Who oversteps and allows an entry to Rogue Warriors? Or who oversteps from Rogue Warriors, SMLZ, and gives an option to Snake to make a play on the opposite side?
I think you answered your own question there.
I didn't say
SMLZ
anything.
was
I
stepping
coughed.
forward. Yeah, that's what that was. But even so, Rogue Warriors are still on top of it, right? Flawless was waiting just around the corner. He's got his flash. He's got his impale. You can see Teleport still ready for Mouse. So Rogue Warriors, they are so cognizant of how they play and how they are playing out this game individually.
The SOFM is actually in here. The blue buff is on the other side of the map for Rogue Warriors, so very good timing from Snake as an option if they wanted to get that gank off. Now notice that Doinby, whilst he's going to go towards that blue buff eventually, also clearing the Scuttle Crab, also preparing themselves for a Cloud Drake, and they know full well through the vision that they've got on the opposite side of the map where the side of Snake are. So if they play safely on the top side, they could even secure themselves a free Drake if they'd like. It's about where their priorities lie, most importantly, and it doesn't feel like a Cloud Drake is high priority, it's more of a freebie.
if they can find it undefended. We did get recall from SMLZ where there were so many people on that top half of the map, finishing off his Infinity Edge 18 minutes into the game as he makes his way back into lane. Bottom lane is now pushed in by Mouse as he completes a recall as well. We're starting to see Rogue Warriors convert that lane advantage, at least in mid and bottom, into some big items.
Yeah, they are some big boys right now with those recalls. You mentioned the items on the AD carry position. Well, now we can direct our attention towards mid lane as well. Even top lane, you've got a Frozen Heart for Mouse, the Ornn. Very hard to kill from any physical damage, and the Tristana and Gangplank have a bunch of that. So Rise now very important, but he's also gone towards an Abyssal Mask first. Not the full AP route, so he's tanky, and he'll be doing a decent amount of magic damage, but it's not as much as a full AP build. So it seems like a pretty good purchase so far from Mouse.
Yeah, we are seeing Gorgo also match the item of Doinby. Those recalls just a moment later. As still, Crystal trying to keep pace, still about 30 CS behind SMLZ.
And the difference is only 200 gold between them, Dom.
Yeah.
So we're talking about these opportunities in the way that the game could ebb and flow, perhaps from Rogue Warriors' side, because it does feel like they have control of the map, at least with Vision. Snake are still scaling up very well. They are still hitting points in the game where they're going to have some big items themselves respectively. And whilst the AD carry position may be pretty far behind, we still have to keep looking towards the top lane. And constantly you will see that Gangplank get ahead. And whilst the gold is now 200 in favor of Snake, I have a feeling most of that is in the top lane.
Though Youmu's has finally been finished for Flandre, so at the very least, that lethality should help him as Flawless thinks about turning in, but SOFM has got such a read on the pulse for Rogue Warriors. He steps forward and forces the jungler back. Rogue Warriors now skirmishing a bit on that top half as Crystal steps up. A quick headbutt prevents a trade back as SMLZ.
Whoa!
Whoa, what a hit! Great crit onto the face. Udia goes in. That's the cannon barrage. This is the fight. Gorgo chases forward. Devours. Snare. Killua kiting it back. SMLZ low. Ignite burning down as Mouse has joined. The Horn is ready. Flawless gets in. Mouse with the headbutt. The Horn has been called. 5 members are lined up, but he's stunned as it passes through. Pushed up to the turret.
Oh, he's
Saved
alive.
by Killua.
Oh, no.
And he's walking away, but finally dies delayed to Mouse. Doinby's pushing up in the mid lane, though, as SMLZ finishes off Crystal. And SOFM, along with Snake, they're thinking about chasing.
Crystal's getting absolutely smacked by SMLZ. 2 hits, I think, total, and they've both been crits, half health him, and pretty much killed him in the end alongside a turret. So they do secure themselves a trade kill in the end. Mouse, it took a lot of effort to kill him. Killua was almost able to save him, and now mid lane still going.
Doinby chasing onto Guoguo, lands the Noxious Blast, continuing to run him down. Flash is used, Doinby.
Let it go. It's okay.
Alrighty, that's the pendulum swinging back. 1 kill for 1 when it's all said and done, but Doinby finished off the mid-tier 1.
Yeah.
And Rogue Warriors
they're
are on the
doing
Baron. Holy
Of course.
cow.
Why would they do anything else? Something that you wouldn't expect for 300, but Snake are here, they're prepared.
Snake immediately trying to get back in there. SOFM has got his smite, level 11 to level 10. So Rogue Warriors decide to respect SOFM and just chase as Snake back.
A little bit of an attempt to perhaps get the Baron if no one from Snake showed up. But more importantly, Rogue Warriors have a very good ability to turn. Flawless still has his flash, still has his ultimate. The Predator is not too far from available soon as well. Their ability to pick somebody off is the biggest deal here from the Rogue Warriors side. So if they get control, they get tempo, they get vision, the things that we've been seeing from them so far this game, things can change.
Oh, Crystal goes in along with SOFM. Killua still holding onto the Devourer. He turns to SMLZ, who has no flash and dies. There's the mistake you were talking about, Rusty. It's SMLZ and Killua who go down.
And it is next to the Baron. Rogue Warriors have to try and mount a defense now around the area. You can see Doinby trying to aggro it, but at the same time, SOFM, he's got the ultimate, he's on a flank. It's not the Baron that Snake really want right now.
They've managed to spot him on
They've
the side.
changed their mind,
SOFM in the pit, down to 4,000 health. Mouse drops the horn. SOFM is low, but that's going to be a big hit. Smite keeps SOFM alive. He finally dies to Doinby, who chases up. What a play as he continues to run them down. Still, it's Mouse and Doinby turning forward. The target selection is almost immaculate, but Crystal finishes it off. He will trade his life over, turning it to a 3-for-2 as Snake will run Mouse down.
He should die in the end. We'll see.
There we go. One auto attack, or Guoguo just getting the spell flux.
But the Baron was stopped. 3 people dead from Snake to match the 3 from Rogue Warriors, but there was already 2 dead. SMLZ, Killua were gone, and they equalized the trade in a situation where they have no right equalizing that. And Snake's decision-making to jump over the wall into the Baron pit, to not go towards a pick, to perhaps have the Baron at too low health that they struggle with their decision-making. I'm not too sure, but the end result was that they had a very poorly executed fight, and Rogue Warriors played them for the fools and got the 3v5 equal trade.
Very high tension situation. I cannot believe this game hasn't been blown open. It feels like we're teetering on a knife's edge. Here's that play again.
Now Doinby has got the blast plant to get over the wall here. No one gets rid of that, strips it from him. SOFM jumps into the Baron with health missing, so he's just secured. Mouse, Flawless, Doinby. The dynamic trio right now, even having that Seraph there from Doinby. And again, all of the damage they're able to apply, the target selection, knowing full well that there's nothing that's going to kill Guoguo. So they just go to the Tristana. They just secure themselves that kill. And I mean, it's very well done in a downplayed situation from Rogue Warriors where they have to play up.
And now it's still 300 gold separating these teams 23 minutes in. They have shown no hesitation, turning their eyes on the Baron, almost dashing under turrets to look for damage as Flawless. Looking 1v2, but he knows he's got his mid laner there with him to trade back. This is so much of a trust fall from these teams. They are playing as a collective 5-man, and these fights are absolutely brutal as a result.
They certainly are. We're getting bigger item spikes as well now for the next fights that we start to see. Rapid fire cannon for Caitlyn is the big one. You compare the AD carry itemization. That is
already a fight breaks out. Mouse with the 2-man knockup as Doinby gets picked off, and Mouse is forced to retreat. Mid-tier 1 goes down.
They get the pick onto Doinby. No summoners available for the Cassiopeia, something that should not have happened. But the second time that it's happened for Rogue Warriors in this game, Snake, they're generating picks very well.
Now 9 and 7 with Doinby off the map. They are allowed to clear out vision in the river. SMLZ have to pull back from the top lane. And Rogue Warriors have to reset all of that tempo that they just set up as Snakes start to pick up some speed of their own.
The Baron's definitely going to be the place to look towards one more time. Guoguo is having a very good game so far on his rise. 4-0-2 starting to step up to the occasion, rising to the moment against Doinby and all of Rogue Warriors who are placing that pressure down. He lost his turret, but that's because he's trying to contribute to the rest of the map. And by doing so, they've gotten Crystal to very close to that 3-item stage. And if they can just get him a little bit further, get him closer to that.
Item difference, though, 60 CS.
Look at the gold, though.
Yeah, 1,400 gold. That's a full BF sword that SMLZ has that Crystal does not.
And then the other lanes is the place that you have to look at as well. Top lane's a 3,000 gold advantage to Flandre, who hasn't got a kill for himself. It's just assists. The support Gangplank is actually very far ahead in items.
Yeah.
That's starting to reflect through team fights. The influence that a Gangplank can have if a keg hits is massive.
Meanwhile, top tier 1 did get broken by Guoguo pushing a wave and then retreating before there was any chance he could be collapsed upon. And look at how Rogue Warriors have now fallen back on the map. Now they're starting to have to respect the pick. Like you said, there's so much damage from Snake if they manage to group up and find it. They've been successful a handful of times.
They have vision in the crucial areas, Rogue Warriors. You can see that control in the Baron pit. Something that they're able to enable them to move forwards as they are now. But something we haven't seen from Rogue Warriors is Killua grouping up with Flawless. The support and the jungler have very rarely worked together. We've seen duos between the AD carry and support, and we've seen duos between the mid laner and the jungler. But when it comes down to placing vision, without Tracker's Knife, Killua kind of has to work a little bit more with Flawless. but they've set their duos.
Ooh, this could be a pick. They managed to tag onto Kahlua. He cleanses, dashes back, but so many people are attacking onto him. Meanwhile, they've managed to get into the back line. Killua still alive.
Oh, the stun.
Great stun from Doinby as Mouse joins in. Is he going to get the knockup? No, it goes wide, but Guogua is dead. Flandre starts setting up some barrels as SMLZ joins the fight. Doinby eats a big hit, flash over the wall as he wants another one. Flandre cannot get enough. SMLZ denied entry as Mouse goes in, and Rogue Warriors are winning this fight as they're chasing it.
Oh, they canceled it.
Knockup catches Crystal. You're not escaping from me. And Rogue Warriors now turn their eyes onto the Baron.
Straight to the Baron. Flawless is tanky enough as well. Doing BSMLZ, they've got the damage for themselves. The buff is secured. SOFM is not confident enough to get to the area. And that fight was so good for Snake until the exact opposite was the outcome. Because of individual decisions, individual mistakes from Snake. It's constantly happening, unfortunately. But it just goes to show how close these teams are. How one small difference can mean the most.
Oh, Killua steps up with Doinby. Oh man, even more kills for the likes of Rogue Warriors as they turn themselves onto the Cloud Dragon.
Yeah, they'll get themselves the Drake. They're able to Tahm Kench ulti in as well, using that extra mobility. Rogue Warriors, they were falling down, they were falling behind. The disadvantages were starting to mount. Openings were there for the side of Snake. They could have picked at those openings, and this fight is the opening they were looking for. They catch Kahlua, but he has the cleanse, he has the flash, he distances himself. First mistake, Guogua puts himself into the fray. Doinby smacks them all with the ult as well. Now the Ornn ultimate was to secure in the end Guogua, but he was already dead to the poison. Mistake number 2 is Flandre here, flashing over the wall to try and secure himself the kill. Doesn't respect the Seraph's Embrace. This actually lets SMLZ step up. And now that he can step up, the rest of the fight is completely a wash from the side of Snake. It's over. Rogue Warriors destroyed.
Absolutely. Coming down to the individual mechanics in these fights. But now we've got Banner of Command finish on Flawless. That Banner minion, Thomas the Tank, pushing forward onto a tier 2. No hesitation as Doinby is going 1v4. He gets caught out by Snake's pick. Though that said, the bottom tier 2 is dead. And Snake might be trying to force a base race as they group up mid.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's going to force Rogue Warriors to go back and respect the other areas of the map. Of course, their mid laner being gone, a major point of damage for them. And at this stage, you want to see Doinby next to SMLZ. You want to see them all grouped up as 5 to have the Cassiopeia protect them. But to be caught out of position is a very unfortunate thing.
Oh, they're looking for Hoodier. He has no flash. He gets all the way up to the blast plant. Can they get him out of there? The Impale pulls him back. 4-man knockup, but he goes down.
He saw his escape right before his eyes. He was just there. He was about to auto-attack it.
That was Indiana Jones. He left his hat on the other side of the barrier, reached for it, and lost his arm.
It wasn't Indiana Jones.
Not how that happened in the film, but that's how that happened in this game, because 29 minutes in, Rogue Warriors, they are just moving collectively as a unit, and those Snake are trying to bite back. The tempo that Rogue Warriors are setting is so difficult to keep pace with.
Yeah, they've definitely accelerated themselves. Now, even the itemization choice from SMLZ is looking towards the Rudart's Hurricane. He's destroying their health bars.
SMLZ's got Ace in the hole. Flandre body blocks and keeps his AD carry alive as SMLZ happily trades his health to finish off some damage onto Crystal. Still, they're sieging this inhibitor turret. SOPM on the side.
There's a fleet footwork for SMLZ. He's got the headshot crit. He's got the rapid fire cannon to constantly poke at them. Snake, they don't have long left. The turret's already gone. And now the threat moves forwards to the inhibitor.
Ever closer. Good barrel placement from Flandre. The old alley-oop on the side, but still they're coming in. Doinby now joins up, and SMLZ back at full health from the red buff. Breaks down the first inhibitor of the game.
The next step for Rogue Warriors is straight towards the top lane. They've already got the wave starting to push forwards. They can do this with a decent timing as well if they choose to. There's not a lot of Baron left for them, however. This would be the last wave if they wanted to push with it, so I think they'll call it quits. It's not a cannon wave. Not really an opportunity to make that push hurt just a little bit more.
And instead just focusing on clearing away those buffs, limiting the map as they actually collapse. As for 3 caster minions, but once Doinby steps up along with Flawless, they're happy to finish it off. Killua tanking those few hits. Still, Rogue Warriors. Holy cow, these guys are fast.
They're certainly pushing the tempo, and I would credit a lot of that to Kahlua with the ultimates, actually. You know, being able to show himself on vision somewhere else perhaps draws attention or focus from Snake to, you know, say they're not going to commit to top lane. It's just an Ornn pushing, and suddenly everyone's there. Surprise! They already got the turret, and there's nothing you can do about it. Even tanking it at the end. Didn't expect them to commit to that because a gangplank can just one-hit the entire wave. They don't need minions.
Very effective play. That's now a 3,000 gold lead. As Rogue Warriors, it doesn't look like a massive gold amount, but they are just being so fast across the map that Snake, you have to imagine the communication in order to keep up with this. Is that 6 items on SMLZ 31 minutes in?
Might as well be, yeah. Of course, he hasn't changed his boots out, but he's full build for what it's worth. So Bloodthirster is the last item of choice, so commits some lifesteal to himself. Now, that isn't a Mercurial Scimitar, it isn't a QSS. They have found themselves with a sizable advantage through the AD carry position. You can see it on your screen. But also mid lane, doing very well.
Yeah, massive setups from Rogue Warriors on their carries, but they manage to find their way back onto the bottom half of the map. Impale is actually denied, I believe. No, it's still on cooldown. Mouse drops the horn. They're still going to look for Hurge. Miasma catches him out of position. They manage to get great damage on the Flawless. Killer with the save as Rogue Warriors just lash in and right back out.
2 ultimates, 3 ultimates actually expended from the side of Snake in that fight, but no one dying from Rogue Warriors. Again, SMLZ, he's able to step up like this. No one's able to contest him because of what was used in that last fight. SMLZ is the #1 priority for both of these teams. So if anyone else is missing health, it's actually okay.
And look at that, SOFM is in the mid lane right now. That's a banner melee minion with Static Shiv, Prox, and the rest of his team there. They're starting to get some chip damage onto the turret, but the moment they see SOFM disappear, they respect him and back away.
No Baron, no cannon minion, no real chance to push the rest of that wave. SMLZ is just pushing his luck. He's trying to step up and get some pot shots off with the rapid fire cannon. Threaten the health, most importantly, of the side of Snake. They aren't very tanky for the most part. They've got a Sejuani, but it's a full health build from SOFM as well. He's gone QSS. He's gone QSS into Warmogs, and only now he's starting to get some armor. But by this stage, that is a 4-1-3 full build Caitlyn. Everybody is fragile.
Those headshots are going to hurt. You see Guoguo trying to step up for a minion wave, but still, Mouse is there just a step faster. 60 seconds for the Baron. And look at the vision that Snake are trying to set themselves up on the map. They're having so much difficulty moving forward because Rogue Warriors are just there faster than them.
They're looking really hard towards item spikes here, particularly for Guoguo. He wants to get himself the death cap before the Baron may be the forthcoming fight here. So ultimately, whilst he is overextending himself to get some extra waves, that whole just one more wave mantra may hurt their vision control by a significant amount. But if he gets the death cap, and if they do get there before the fight happens, then it could be worse.
Certainly could be. That said, Flandre stepping forward to try to clear out some of this vision with 3 members of his team. All 5 members of Snake on this side of the map. Doinby is bottom, already prepping a wave for his team.
Him being bottom, of course, gives Snake the entry into at least controlling some vision around the area. You can see how far they were able to push themselves. For Rogue Warriors actually mounted a defense and tried to push them back. So again, the ebb and flow of the vision will continue. Rogue Warriors, they don't have the current control of the area. They're just feigning as if they do. They're acting like their carries are nearby, but one's doing Krugs and red buff, the other's doing blue and recalling. They're not actually very strong right now, until they arrive.
Not quite yet, though now we do see Doinby making his way out of base. Leandri's Rylai's, that is actually full items, excluding the likes of that Dark Seal. But still, Rogue Warriors, they are setting themselves up. Snake, they're getting this brief window of time to try to get some items to get ready for the upcoming fight. But it looks like that window is just about to close as Rogue Warriors group up.
And they start hitting the Baron straight away. Snake, they know the gangplank is bottom lane, Rogue Warriors. They may have to force the ultimate, but I don't think they can even really mount a defense. That was just too quick.
That was a lightning Baron. And like a Thunderbolt, they strike in and tear it apart. Now they're back onto the map. Banner is just about ready again for Flawless as he just flashed.
They've got the rise.
They've caught Guoguo and he is dead.
Tahm Kench Skarner, a nasty combo if they're able to find the mark. There's no QSS for the rise. He's committed to that death cap. Well, congratulations, you've completed the item, but you're also dead for another 45 seconds against the Baroned up Rogue Warriors with a banner of command to be used on a cannon wave as well. There's
Flawless.
Nothing stopping them.
Thinking about stepping forward, but like a scorpion in the desert, his prey has to step onto him. Rogue Warriors now break down the inhibitor of Snake. They're second to the game. That's Call of the Forge God. They're going to knock up Hujie. SOFM on the side. Crystal finally joins the fight, but Flawless and Doinby immediately step up and get that carry out of here. He cleanses in order to escape, but Rogue Warriors might be finishing the game.
They're looking towards the end right now, Tom.
Continuing to go in, the flash, Hujie tries to save but does not succeed. As SMLZ will not be stopped. 10 kills for himself. Doesn't even need minions to finish off this game. The final inhibitor is going to be broken as Rogue Warriors step into the Snake Pit and slam down. SOFM's trying to hold down the fort, but this Nexus is not going to withstand the barrage of a 6-item Caitlyn, fully upgraded SMLZ, as Rogue Warriors take game 1.
And in the end, a very tense start to the first game does start to dwindle away. Rogue Warriors getting that extra control. Not without their own mistakes, however, but a super clean closeout. Once they got an advantage, once they got a lead large enough for it to mean something, and once they found a chance to protect and empower SMLZ, that is when Rogue Warriors look their best and they're able to use their team composition strengths to its fullest.
Absolutely. Playing to the likes of SMLZ, Doinby stepping up, flawless, just all across the map. And though we did see Snake try to use their characteristic SOFM-founded style, I don't think they were prepared for SMLZ stepping up so aggressively in the bottom lane.
Yeah, unfortunately for Snake, when you look at the draft, the choice of the Alistar Tristana, it's very good early, and it's not going to be that good, however, when Rogue Warriors have pressure down there constantly. They had the push constantly. The biggest deal to me is still Doinby just going down there solo without his jungler, getting the double kill, and from that point, there was a massive win condition available to Rogue Warriors at all times, and Snake were on the back foot. Flandre couldn't make the same impact relative to a cross-map trade, and ultimately, Rogue Warriors just had the better 5v5 in the end.
And this is the sort of style that we expect from Rogue Warriors. Once they find an advantage, once they find an opening, they just try to throttle out the opponent so ruthlessly, and though Snake put up a good fight, they just could not keep up with the speed at which Rogue Warriors were moving.
Yeah, we saw some very good moments from Snake, some great picks, some opportunities were there for them. They just couldn't collapse and take those opportunities to the best of their abilities.
Well, now it's up to our analysts to break down that game 1.
Thank you, Dom, and we certainly will. Starting right off the bat from picks and bans, because it went exactly as how you two described it was going to go between Rogue Warriors and Snake.
It was like the bingo card of all the picks that Clem and I talked about. Like, oh, look, there's Sion. Oh, look, there's Karma. Oh, there's Olaf. And there they go.
Yeah, this is basically Snake denying all of their losing conditions. Like we said, Guoguo does not want to play around the Sion mid lane, and also the Karma from Doinby. They take that out of the rotation. They also take Olaf, which is a huge pressure valve on of their bot lane. So they take all of that out and try to deny their problems. However, Rogue Warriors, at the end of the day, still had a better draft because of Doinby's champion pool.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that did come down to the mid lane priority. By pressuring Guoguo, and he doesn't, like, he has the option to go for a Galio here, but they need the CC lockdown from the Ryze. So he has high priority on Ryze because there's so many mid lane bans that comes out, which gives Doinby the counter pick. Now, Doinby has an undefeated Orianna. We know that Cassiopeia also works as a counter matchup. He gets the counter pick, which gives him automatic lane priority. It works because his jungler is going to invade whether he wants him to or not, but it also means that Doinby's the first one out towards that bottom lane and gets SMLZ snowballed very early on.
And we see the jungle playstyle kind of interact there, how SOFM's more of a tracker, Flawless is trying to kill him.
Or like he's going to blitz into the jungle.
Yep. He didn't need to track anything, basically.
No, he did not need to track anything because Flawless just ran straight at him. And we were thinking, you know, maybe he'd be able to kill SOFM, but Snake's playstyle really showed in that one invade that came out from Flawless. They rotated around to make sure they could protect SOFM, and they picked up the first kill on Flawless that way.
But again, that's also why Doinby's mid lane priority was so important, because even though Flawless had thrown away a very early death by trying to blitz into SOFM's jungle, by having the Cassiopeia into the Ryze matchup, it didn't matter because he could protect and cover Flawless anyway, and it's not a 1v1 in 8.4, it's a 2v2.
Yeah, and that really accelerated Rogue Warriors' composition. What they want is have a better 5v5 team fight later into the game, and they set up that very well with the Cassiopeia and the Caitlyn. They have the blockers in Cassio, the range in Caitlyn, and they're able to kite back very well with Kahlua plays.
Yeah, and it might not look like a typical Rogue Warriors composition. You know, there was no support being picked up in the mid lane, but they still executed it like a Rogue Warriors composition. They were able to kite back very effectively, use choke points quite well, and basically win every skirmish and team fight they had against Snake.
And I want to highlight what Clement's talking about in this stall mechanic. So we do have a couple of images that we're going to bring up, and it's playing the red side around the Baron pit in particular. We talk about kind of specific red side picks a lot, but the thing is that with a Caitlyn, with an Ornn, with a Cassiopeia, and being on red side, all Rogue Warriors have to do is control this area, because even if Snake ever got an advantage in the game, their ability to translate that into a Baron without either the threat of a steal or the threat of a 5v5 is really hard to break, because you can't break into that ramp. You know, that's a tiny choke point for an Ornn ultimate. You have Caitlyn traps, Cassiopeia is sitting there right next to everyone. It's really hard to dive down back, and this is what Snake needed to do, which was to flank with their Alistar, but they didn't.
Yeah, basically, if Rogue Warriors stood here, there was no way Snake could have won the game. They needed to catch out Rogue Warriors' composition either outside of the ramp or around it. We've seen a lot of Miracle Realm Warps catching players around the mid lane, and that's what Snake was trying to avoid. They wanted to avoid going up directly into the ramp. However, though, Rogue Warriors still forced them into it.
And we actually saw that in one of the team fights between the two teams, the actual team fight that put Rogue Warriors far ahead of Snake, where they were able to move through that ramp. Things started off good for Snake. They looked like they were going to win the fight, but Rogue Warriors kited it out really well and were able to swing it back in their favor.
And credit to Huda, he does get, like, the Alistar is the big win condition against Rogue Warriors composition, because Caitlyn and Cassiopeia, likelihood they're going to be standing next to each other. If the Alistar can get into the backline, that's good. But he only gets one target. It's not the Caitlyn, it's not the Cassiopeia, and then here comes the ramp hold, using the higher ground, like, you have no power here, you have made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, there's just huge pressure for the AD carries and the damage dealers to follow up onto a ramp. There's no way they're going to do it, and once Snake composition, they separated themselves frontline going up the ramp, the backline was never going to follow, so that effectively ended the team fight right there, and Rogue Warriors were able to snowball from
And we can always look towards the carries like Doinb as well as SMLZ, who are able to farm up a Storm and to provide the damage in those fights. But one player that you and Icon were looking towards the entire game was Killua.
I was in there.
Yeah, Indiana as well. You were looking at this too. But Killua was somebody we were watching throughout the entire match because we don't really speak about Killua too often when it comes to Rogue Warriors. It's not about the four members that are looking to seek revenge from their former teams, but he played phenomenally in that game.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, when we're giving credit and ranking the ADCs, I ranked SMLZ quite highly because he's standing next to a rookie, whereas, you know, iBoy has someone like Mako next to him, Uzi has someone like Ming next to him, but now it's almost kind of like, maybe I buffed SMLZ up because Killua is so good.
Yeah, Killua is one of the best mechanical rookies we've had all split, regardless of positions. If you watch his Braum, he's probably the best Braum we've seen out there, right next to Mako, because he uses that flash Q flash, so well in team fights. And the big thing is, he isn't afraid to initiate when Rogue Warriors are winning with that Tahm Kench either.
He also just seems to have such a good read on SMLZ. SMLZ is a very aggressive forward ADC. Like, sometimes he will flash forward to go for the kill, and Killua, like, you know, SMLZ doesn't talk. I've watched that guy during a game. He's not saying anything. Klua's just, like, in his brain and understands and will follow him no matter what.
Seems like he's been able to adapt really well to his AD carry, who actually picks up MVP in game number 1. Rightfully so, he had 440 CS at 30 minutes into the game, completed his build really early on, and just dealt a ton of damage in the match.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, Rogue Warriors MVP goes to SMLZ.
Yeah, 30 CS up at 10 minutes, and he's also the biggest mismatch we have on the map in terms of just laning strength. Crystal has to show better if they ban out the Vars.
Certainly does, and with game number 1 over, Rogue Warriors are able to pick up a victory there. We're going to go into a quick break. We're back with game 2 shortly.